wrestling, comedy, and combat sports, then we have the podcast for you because we cover that and much, much more.
Do you like to debate with your friends? Do we have the perfect segment for you? It's the 531, where we take any given subject, break it down to a top 5. From there, we debate it down to 3, and then into that number 1 spot.
If you want to get a hold of us, find us on our social medias. Search Working Fans Podcast on any major social media platform. And if you want to find the podcast, search for us on any major podcast platform, as well as YouTube.
Working Fans Podcast. We put in the work so you don't have to.
Fans, welcome back for Working Fans Comedycast, episode 51, where we are reviewing the first Austin Powers movie. Now, as always, we are brought to you by Wrestleville, the Pro Wrestling Vault, Volume 1, written by Vinnie Barry. It is available at WrestleVille.com and LanceByChance.com. Also, Lance by Chance, Wrestling is Von Erich, written by Kevin Vaughn and Vinnie Barry. How Kevin Vaughn became Lance Von Erich and then Lance Vaughn. His amazing life afterwards. We are also brought to you by the album Graham by A.O. Money Meech. Check out our first Musiccast episode. And like I said, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, man they call Dave. How you doing today?
Ain't no mystery about me, baby. I'm all man. What's up?
We are coming to you in a blizzard. And Dave, wasn't this almost the perfect day to watch Austin Powers, since we had time and it wasn't a chore that we were trying to fit it in?
Yeah, no, it was pretty good. All I did today was eat and watch movies. I watched Book of Boba Fett. I watched Peacemaker. I watched a bunch of wrestling shows. I got another wrestling show. We're watching the Rumble tonight, and I squeezed this movie in, and I did 3 loads of laundry. Motherfucker, this is great. I'm so productive today.
Knocking it out of the park. Now, we all remember Austin Powers. He's a world-class playboy and part-time secret agent from the 1960s that he's going after Dr. Evil. Dr. Evil cryogenically freezes himself, shoots himself into space, comes back 30 years later. So Austin Powers gets frozen, and then they defrost him when they see Dr. Evil come back to Earth.
Right.
And the whole movie is just Austin not being able to adjust to modern society, and it's so hilarious.
Yeah,
Same with Dr. Evil, for that matter.
Yeah, I liked a lot of the jokes. He's like, as long as we can still have sex freely whenever we want and unprotected sex and use all kinds of drugs, what's the problem? You know, basically, yeah, it's just, he's not ready for this world in the 90s. Obviously, this movie takes place in 1997, and he was from the 60s, like you said. And ironically, too, like we talked about before we got on there, we didn't plan this, but this May is the 25th anniversary of this movie.
And that is wild. Now, Rotten Tomatoes, I was surprised to see they had a 73% on the tomato meter, 77% audience score. I watched this 1.5 times today just to get enough notes for the show here. And it flew by. Like we've been saying it with all the movies we've covered so far. They just go by so quick. They're so enjoyable. It's like joke after joke after joke. And just so many people in this.
For you wrestling fans, high spot after high spot after high spot. Mike Myers, too. Interesting to note, his birthday, I believe he's going to be 59 this year. It was actually in May, too. It's May 2nd. And then May 20-something, this movie opened. So big month for him. I was looking at his career. I think the last thing he did was this horrible movie, The Love Guru, which was just banned. And I think he's finally got something coming back recently, I heard. But
I think I saw Austin Powers 4 is in production.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Planning to be made.
Did you know there's a game called like Mass Effects too? I was looking up. and people like basically taking Austin Power clips like online and like chiming, like, putting them in this game and stuff like
I
that.
saw something about it, but I didn't watch them. I take
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
worth checking out.
It's just like he goes to, like, judo chop, and then you just see somebody in the game get knocked out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that, like, the effect it's had on pop culture. And mostly everybody loves this movie. It's the first time a sequel actually outgrossed the original,
Yeah.
because the movie had so much steam that when the sequel came, it was much bigger. I don't remember what the original made, but the sequel was like 300 million, and then the third movie was just shy of that. But um the original James Bond films, I think Pierce Brosnan was the actor, not the original, but like some of the earlier James Bond, like Pierce Brosnan was the actor, and
Pierce Brosnan was late.
he was later, right?
Sean Connery was first, Roger Moore,
Right.
and then Pierce Brosnan was like around in the 1990s.
So let me word that differently. So the actor who was doing James Bond around the 90s, before Daniel Craig, the Bond series was, although a serious film, they had some, kind of like the play on words, like a lot of pussy galore.
They leaned on it a lot more during that Pierce Brosnan era.
They stopped doing that because of the Austin Powers movies. The Austin Powers movies made fun of everything and became such a big hit. They had to, when Daniel Craig got involved, they had to get more serious. And to quote Daniel Craig, I believe the was from the article, the website was The Carrier. They fucked us. So like they had to change everything because Austin Powers was such a success, and it kind of trivialized some of the stuff they were doing.
Is it almost like Spaceballs and Star Wars, where it's so similar that it not ruins the original, but it affects the way you look at the original because of the other one? Because I thought they did spy movies so hilarious, and so many of the tropes that are in those James Bond films were some of the biggest jokes in this Austin Powers movie.
Right. I think the Spaceballs reference is good. That's a great analogy. The difference, I think, was, and obviously they have hardcore Bond fans, but you just have such a hardcore like Star Wars audience that you're not gonna, they're gonna complain and bitch, but that franchise is still gonna come out, make a movie, and do billions of dollars. So
Definitely. Now, obviously, starring Mike Myers as Austin Powers and Dr. Evil, Seth Green as Scott Evil.
yes,
We had
he's terrific.
100%. Elizabeth Hurley as Vanessa Kensington. Michael York is Basil Exposition. Robert Wagner, number 2. Who else do we have? Fabiana Udenya is a lot of vagina, which has to be Dave's favorite character.
I mean, where's the a lot of vagina at? She's great.
Now, the movie was written by Mike Myers, directed by Jay Roach. He also directed the sequel and the third one. He did Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers, and Dinner for Schmucks.
Wasn't this the story too that Dr. Evil was based on Lorne Michaels?
Yeah. And great impersonation. You can hear the similarities.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if you saw this. It was produced by Eric McLeod, who is the executive producer. Claire Rodnick Polstein was also an executive producer. Mike Myers, Jennifer Todd, Suzanne Todd, and Demi Moore produced this movie.
Oh,
that Demi Moore. Now, I got some fun facts from the movie. The guy that played the soup Nazi in Seinfeld was featured as the cards dealer at one point.
Yes.
There was the guy that was the head of the UN that I forget the part he played on Seinfeld, but he was on that. Will Ferrell, well before he really broke out, played Mustafa.
I'm badly burned. I'm just hurt. It's great.
Yeah, when he's in the pit and they shot him. Why did you shoot me?
Yeah, he shot me in my arm.
Now, this is available on HBO Max, and if you want to buy it, $3.99 on YouTube and Apple TV.
Celebrate the 25th anniversary, folks. Come on.
Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Ron Howard's brother. He plays the guy who was the radar operator that calls the general.
Clint Howard.
Clint Howard, yep.
That's right, my man.
Now, I like the fact that Basil Exposition is his whole point in the movie is to advance the plot. And that's hilarious because his name's Exposition, and that's exactly what his dialogue does. Like, fills in everything you needed to know going in.
Yeah. I thought for some reason before this movie started, I thought a lot of vagina was going to be Selma Hayek. And then I was like, oh, nope, that's not her.
No, just as amazingly stunning of a woman, but not like I thought it was a bigger star when I remembered it.
Yeah. That was interesting. But yeah, this movie is just, I think, that underground hit. I think it's like it ended up being very successful, the franchise, but this first movie, although successful, again, like I said, it made the sequels bigger. Like I think this movie is one of those movies that grew over time.
Oh yeah, it was a good jumping off point for them. Like, and we will review the second and the third down the road, but this was so good to kick things off. Now, what were some of your favorite scenes from the movie?
We covered one of them, Will Ferrell in that bit part there where he gets dropped down, and of course he's not killed. So I love that. I think the interactions with Seth Green as his son Scott were excellent. When they're in the
Therapy.
Therapy, yeah. And she's like, I think he's trying to kill me. And they're like, that may appear to be. And he was like, no, actually, he's very observant. I have been trying to kill him, but he's a bit wiry, like his old man. I mean, that kind of stuff is the stuff I love. Yeah.
I really like the scene with Tom Arnold in the bathroom.
Right.
When he's talking to Austin in the next stall over, getting his belongings back after being frozen, and the Swedish penis pump, and then the book that he wrote about it.
This is my bag, baby.
Yeah, he's trying to play it off like it's not his. Dr. Evil coming up with the demands, and much like Austin Powers being so out of touch that the demands he's asking for are comically low.
Yeah, that was another thing. You're right. That part too, where he's talking about we're gonna put a hole in the ozone layer.
Yeah,
and that's already been done. I've been frozen for 30 years here. Maybe throw me a friggin' bone.
One of my favorite things is also when Austin Powers, he says there's two things that scares me. He names one, and Basil's like, "What's the other thing?" He goes, "Carnies." They
Yes.
smell like cabbage, and I was just dying during that. He would be putting a side eye to AJ Strangebrew.
Oh, he would not like him at all. No. I know. I knew where you were going with that. Yeah, that's one thing me and Joe, we could attest to. We know about carnies.
And the club scene in the beginning was just hilarious, where he punches the waitress in the face, and they revisit that joke later where he punches Basil's mother in the face.
Right.
It's not your mother, it's a man, baby.
Yes. And in the beginning, it is actually a woman he punches. You can clearly see it. They did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And then he goes back down. You can see it's a man or like that. And in this one, you can clearly see it was a woman. And of course, it was his mom.
Yeah, that was one of the funnier scenes. Now, we didn't get many fan comments this week, but Nate Luthart from the Mothership Facebook group said a bit nutty. Kevin Dignam said he liked it. Second is probably the best. Third is okay. James Castillo said loved it as a kid. Now it's my second favorite from the trilogy. And Ryan Damon loved it. Too bad the second one ruined it in the first scene. Third was good. That makes me want to watch the second one now and see what he thinks about the first scene ruined it.
I love that this basically this wrestling Facebook group is so helpful for us with all this stuff. And we can get this stuff on short notice with Austin Powers. But like if we want like a list of Cody Rhodes matches for our wrestling, nah, motherfucker. You ain't doing that to us. We got respect for the business.
And it is amazing. It is amazing how multifaceted they are too. They can give you comedy movies on the drop of a dime, boxing at the drop of a dime. So many. Now, Dave, it's a blizzard outside. How much are you looking forward to shoveling out there?
Oh, I'm not. I'm planning on hiring my 26-year-old helper. um, he's a young man. He watches this. He always helps me out with things. He's super handy, way more handy than I am. At some point, we're going to fix the holes in my girlfriend's wall because her ADHD son wreaks havoc and smashes. I was actually saving the kids some cookies, but I'm weak and I ate them all pretty much. So,
Hey, we're snowed in today. If you're not in the Northeast, if you're like Josh DeBoer driving down to St. Louis for Royal Rumble,
right.
you don't know that we're locked in the house for today. So we got what we got. I'm about to cook up some dinner and get ready for the Royal Rumble tonight. I am excited because ain't shit else to do today except record this and get it out.
Yeah. I think I got an episode of NWA USA I'm going to watch still. And I don't know what else. Yeah, I might work out. I don't know. Like, right now that I've been so unhealthy, maybe I'll do something healthy at some point here today. Because I don't want to fucking shovel. It is 4:15 as we're doing this, and this snow looks to still be coming down hard up until 7, and still be going a little bit after that till about 9-10 o'clock.
Yeah, and the wind is blowing it around. So like God, I am not looking to shovel.
It's also 14 degrees outside too. Like it's still fucking cold too.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to shoveling before work tomorrow, but I'm gonna have to get that shit done at some point.
Get yourself a houseboy, baby. I got him. I got my man. I sent him over to you. See if he can come by.
Now, guys, thank you for joining us again this week, and we will see you next week.
Later.